mobile to tablet to desktop back to mobile, right? Because they're buying cars.
Okay, like your business card?
Yeah, well, yeah, we do websites for car dealers,
okay.
right? Or kind of, but yeah. So that's the point where we focus.
Gotcha.
So because we've got this 90-day purchase cycle, and people are going to be bouncing back and forth. We want to assume that they're going to go from their desktop to mobile, and if it's the second visit, they've already been there. They know they want to go back to a specific thing, right? I mean, how many of us have gone to a website 10 times, and by the second or third time, you should have it pretty well memorized, and you kind of get right where you wanted to go, and you're just verifying what you saw the last time. Then you keep doing that. So if you're going to be bouncing back and forth, you want to make sure that you don't take away the content, just reorganize it to make it easier to find. Okay. So when we go here, see, I've got a list of all the dealers here, right? And then what we've done too, we'll open another one, is each of the dealers has its own individual landing page of which calls directly to that dealer. So this particular website, they've got about 14 different franchises in the Arizona area.
Can I tell them about some of the plugins that I touch? There are some plugin solutions. You could hire his existing site. So it depends how it was coded and other variables, but you probably could get somebody that could do a reasonable job with the existing site. But there's also some plugins. If it's a WordPress site, that for what they cost, do a surprisingly good job. But how they work, one of the most popular, it's a commercial one. It's called iTouch.
iTouch?
Yes. And it's a company based in Canada. And it's a bit like what we were saying, it's a bit of a hybrid because it's providing another template. It senses what device you're utilising, and then it provides a template that's suitable for that device. But then it takes whatever data that's on your website and it adapts it to that additional template data. And for what it costs, it does a reasonable job. Would you agree, Mike?
I haven't used that one. I've used WP Touch and a couple other ones. Yeah. So basically what it does is it gives a whole new homepage. It's similar to what your regular homepage navigation would be.
Yeah, I have a responsive website, and then when you go on to like a cell phone or something, when you go to the menu drops down, covering the menu.
It depends. So, not knowing as much about what your site does, but a couple ways you can get around that is create. Right, and most responsive sites are a lot of the responsive are frame mobile. Use this menu on tablet. Use this menu on on desktop. Yep.
Does the Genesis framework?
The framework itself, it's built in the code. I use Dynamic on top of Genesis mostly, and it does.
Oh.
Right? Yeah, so you can choose different menus per device, right? And if you can do that, then what I always recommend is you probably have your menu, right, and submenus,
Yes.
right? Have your mobile menu cover your top menu, your submenu. And then on each of the pages that you would end up on from that top menu, have the submenu content available, so they can drill down in a logical way. Right? We kind of drill down to general to specific, and that's really what a menu does. And on a mobile phone, at least that way, you don't give them this big, huge menu. Right? So that's one way to do it.
We're noticing that on our site, we're surprised to see 75% of the traffic coming through mobile devices, whether it be iPhones or tablets or that type of thing. Yeah, 75%, and it's a news site. But now I'm wondering, well, I should be focusing on developing for that thing instead of, instead of the main page, because that's where the majority of our traffic is.
What's your site?
NBMotorsportnews.com.
Nice site, by the way, guys.
Thank you.
What did you say?
NB Motorsport News. NevadaMotorsportNews.com.
Yeah, I'll show it up. On here.
News especially, I mean, we consume news on our phones big time.
Yeah,
smart.
That's
We're
that's
directed
good.
at
Like
a
it.
certain demographics, because I've been recording motorsports for about 30 years now.
I like it.
Sports.
Nice.
Sport.
Motorsport News.
News.
NB Motorsport News. You can pull it up if you want.
Yep, I am. That's what we see.
And the last picture you'll see when this thing flips is the mini Lucas Oil off-road right there, Lucas Oil off-road race. And they'll be back next week.
So we've been, now what you're seeing there, it's, I assume it's reactive, right?
It's responsive.
Responsive.
Yep.
Okay. But I think we're using Jetpack to get it on the phone. And our phone is it's slightly different. And I don't have an interface to manipulate that. Eventually, we'd like to get some sponsors on there and get some ads to support the site.
Open up that top.
Yeah, I think what you're expressing is a classical, but it's only my opinion, it's a kind of classical, I wouldn't say problem. What you've done is you built a site for a desktop and then you're utilising, I didn't know Jetpack, I never used Jetpack, so.
Yeah, it's
But Jetpack, it's a bit like iTouch, it's providing that functionality so when people, they see, but it's doing the best job that it can. You haven't had somebody kind of work it out a bit about what you're going to show on the small screen and then you work your way out.
See, I'm showing this right now.
You're working with a big screen and you're doing your best to.
we just recently came to this conclusion. I mean, it's only been up for about a month, and just looking at the traffic, it's like, oh wow, we're a mobile site.
Try
Well,
the,
We're not that.
open up the
Eventually
Sanchez
it,
on there.
So it depends what is the key thing people are getting from your site, do you think? News?
Yeah.
That's the reason. I think Mike is totally right. That's the reason why you're getting to. It does seem very high, but because it's a news site, people are consuming that on the move.
Actually, if you go to the
So
right,
that's
I'll
why
show
that's why that
Scroll
figure
down
is
just
so
slightly.
high, and it doesn't really depend
Now,
on and
when I publish them, all the pictures are
depending
side by side, and then I wind up with
on
this.
various budget, various things.
That's what I'm trying to get
You
away
might be better off. Might be
So what are you trying to do?
that scenario. You might be better having two sites,
Yeah.
mobile, but it's a difficult one.
So when you
That's what I originally asked.
Oh, neat.
Was, do you want to have two dedicated sites for two different purposes?
See, when I publish it, all
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
pictures were
but
side
the
by
only thing you've
side.
got to be aware
Right,
of
right.
that is
And they
you've got
stack.
to
Then I
take two
wind up,
sites,
later.
I am very well aware of that, yes.
which
Trying
is
to get away
hassle.
from that sort of
Yes,
all
it is.
two different-
You know,
Use,
but
create a gallery.
it's a
Create a
Create a gallery to
gallery
plug
of
in.
your photos.
Creative Gallery.
A gallery of your photos.
But you gotta get the right plugin. Creative Gallery.
No, it's built right in.
didn't mean to hijack the meeting.
Yeah, no, that's
Is it-
fine,
is
that's
it
fine.
Genesis?
We're right there. What's that?
Genesis with Dynamic? What's he using?
WordPress. If you're using Jetpack, just turn on the gallery, the pretty gallery, and then take all these pictures and put them into the mosaic or something, and it'll put them all in a nice look.
Will it come out like?
No, it actually, you can do it in a grid pattern, or you can do it in a mosaic. And the mosaics are the popular ones like Pinterest uses, where you've got a big picture, a little picture, a big picture, and they kind of fit them all in nice.
That in.
We can do this offline.
Is a race.
So what gallery is this? This is my daughter's website.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, that's a
That's
type
it.
of gallery.
Is that that
It's only been up for a month. He keeps slamming the content in there, and I'm on the back end trying to
Yeah.
make things
That
work.
looks
And
nice. Yeah, it's good.
together, it's been a pretty good team.
And if you do a gallery too, when you click on it, what it would do is go to a slideshow. and you could go from big picture to big picture, and you want to see the big pictures, right? At least people who are into photos.
And I want them to be able to see like what I got here.
What's that?
I want them to first be able to see what I got right here.
Yep, yep, and that's what it does. You can create them in a pattern, whatever pattern you choose, and then when you click on it, it can go to a slideshow.
The artist has a vision.
Yep, yeah. I could tell. I backed right off when he shut me down.
It comes from years of experience.
Yeah, and and you got to stick to your vision for sure. So that's kind of the responsive. I hope that answered your questions. Okay. So I would recommend you try and keep it the same site.
I would like to.
So you've got a WordPress site. If you use a WP Touch or iTouch or something like that as a beginning point, if it's not a responsive site.
I don't know if mine is responsive or not.
What's the domain?
It's Airmedic, AIRMEDIC.
One more time, I'm sorry.
Airmedic. Reno. There you go.
.com. I don't think so. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, so you're fine.
There you go. I don't know what to use them.
Yeah, most of the themes that are out right now, if you've gotten something in the last year, you most likely got a responsive theme. Right? That's so what I'm going to do is kind of dovetail off of that, and since we're building a site, one of the things that is a big piece of websites right now is that homepage slider. And I noticed both those sites have sliders on it. Just about all the sites have sliders.
So hip, cool new thing.
It is the hip, cool new thing, right? You gotta be able to change the content. Depends on what circle you're in.
Does the slider slow down the page?
It can.
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
Yeah. Bill's just asking, can it slow down the page? And it can if you get the wrong slider, the wrong server, and you upload really big pictures.
Right.
So you want to scale down your photos to where it's not.
Illustrator has a fix, so you put it in for a web base, like 72 DPI.
Yep.
72 DPI.
Save for web is.
Save for web occurs at 72 DPI. That's really important. That really makes your site fast. I've done that to my site. It speeds it up tremendously.
Yeah, and if you don't do that, there are plugins that will reduce your file size as well for you.
What site are you going to?
I'm on Cafe Reno right now.
Okay,
so
I want to go there.
This is the site.
How do I get there?
Huh?
How do I get there? Cafe?
CafeReno.com. Sorry.
This is all being recorded. Everything we're doing, you'll be able to see if you want to see it after. Oh yeah, everything's being recorded. All these. Now I'm coming up with the site so you can see the sites on here. Your site.
Yep.
It's a powerful tool. It's a powerful tool. I did a speaker down at Atlantis, and they got 5 times as many people watching it here than they did in Atlantis.
So what I'll do is, I'm on Cafe Reno, and this is the site we're building that's going to have our forum and kind of buddy question. We'll be able to put our profiles on it so everybody knows kind of our skill level as it relates to WordPress or anything else for that matter. One of the things, if you are a writer, the motorsports and so forth, eventually this will have multiple groups in it, kind of like a Facebook with groups that are specific to Reno. One of the reasons I wanted to do this is I like to mountain bike, and when I go for a ride and want to ride with other people, I don't want to text everybody 10 times. Or if I take my daughter out to the water park, I don't want to have to text all her friends' parents and go, hey, I'm going to the water park today. I want to be able to just go here and go, hey, this is where I'm going. Anybody that's in this group, do you want to go with me? Right? And that's kind of the cool part about groups. But I'm not a big Facebook fan, so I kind of wanted to bring it in. So ultimately, the slider, I've uploaded a slider, and one of the reasons I wanted to show this is I like, again, coming from the car industry, we are selling very expensive products, right? We're helping dealers sell very expensive products. And we're always trying to come up with the best way to do it. And layered sliders are one of those ways. And anybody familiar with what a layered slider is? No? Okay. So, good one. Okay, so a layered slider, you've probably seen them. It's where multiple layers come out in units or at different times.
So images come in at different angles?
Correct. It could be from different angles, one at a time, multiple things coming at you. You can
Speeding the eye more.
Exactly. It's kind of, I liken it to something in between a video and a still slider, right? Because we'd love to be able to, we know how important video is, but you don't want to autoplay a video. Again, every site's different, but for the most part, you don't want to autoplay a video. Most people are browsing the web while they're at work. You autoplay a video, big noise, they shut off, they're gone. Right? You don't want to do that. And you don't want to be intrusive either. You want them to be able to choose to do that. But a slider, people have grown to expect it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a create a slideshow with this, and I'll show you how it works. So this tool is called Smart Slider 2. It is a paid tool, right? And most of the things you'll see me use, I paid for. Because I want to pay for them. I want them to be around. I want them to keep working on it. I want it to continue to evolve and be a good tool. And this one is one of those. So when you first load this up, you'll have a lot of options. You'll see I've got no sliders yet. I could actually import a slider from another site if I wanted to. Okay, I could actually create just a quick slider. I want a slider, and I'm going to put in all the information. I can manually create it. Dynamic slider can pull content. You can actually pull content into this from Facebook and Twitter and some other sources, I believe. But you put in the API key, and it'll start pulling in the posts that are happening on Facebook and Twitter, which is kind of cool for some sites. And then down below, they've got some templated ones that have kind of a preset look. So you can actually, I'll go to the.
What is the cost of the product?
I believe this one's around $100 for a developer's license, but it's probably less than that for an individual site. Right, so you'll see how all the pieces are coming in one at a time? Mm-hmm. Right? So this would be one way you could do it. So you could actually import this particular slider, put it on your site, and then change out the pieces so you don't have to worry about the formatting and the timing of it. Right, so you get all those pieces. What I'll do, let's go back over here and do the site if I want to just build something from, scratch. I'm going to use the quick slider option. On my site, and I don't know exactly how wide this is, I'm going to put it in this top section here, and I'm going to cheat. I'm going to assume that is probably about 940 pixels wide is what we want to work off of, but let's do this. This is a screen capture tool, and what I'm going to do is just use it to try and figure out how wide that is. That's actually wider than I thought. So if we go I'll start off at about 1,000 pixels. As far as the width goes, let's get rid of that. Go about 400 pixels wide. So that'll be the canvas size. Right, and let's go ahead, background animation. We won't even do any of that right now. Let's just create a slider and see what we end up with. One of the reasons I kind of like to do it this way, kind of ad lib, is this is how you should do it. Just do it. Yeah, it's one of those things. To come in and have a set presentation with slide means that I spent 20 hours figuring it out to come show you that, as seen on TV. I can't hula hoop, right? I'm not going to pretend I can. I learn how to do it as I go, and this is, I think, the best way to teach, is my opinion. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose, do I want simple arrows, parallax arrows and bullets, background animation, that kind of stuff. Let's just do simple arrows. Bullets, I think that's going to be, choose. Yep, so I did highlight. Do I want captions? Do I want columns? Let's just save that. and then I'm going to create a slide. Okay, so it pops up, and this is where my kind of canvas area will be. And I give my slide, a name. We tend to name our slides as specifically as possible. Again, it's the car business. Car dealers still think that their website's like the newspaper, and they just want to keep throwing stuff at it, right? So they'll give us this weekend sale, and then 3 weeks they want this weekend sale again. So we just name them really well so we can go back and put them back in the mix. So if I went, and you can put a timer on these as well. So depending on what you're doing, if you want to, say you've got a big event coming up and you want to build the slide, but you don't want to have to do it, you don't want it on the site yet, but you're not going to have time right before, you can actually time it to go up at a specific time, right? Which is nice, really nice. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an item. Let me save that. Oh, I got to pick a layout of my slide. Yeah, I'm just basic, so we'll go. And you can see I've got a heading. Right? I've got different. I just picked that layout to go to begin with. If I want to add a new layer, it actually will just give me this layer. And if I want to put an item in that, let's say I want to put an image in there, and now I want to figure out what that image is. So I have practiced this part just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I had an image up, and I'm just going to drop this in there, just so you can see some of the functionality. And we'll go with full layer. It actually will just give you this layer. And one of the things, so you notice what's happening? I'm trying to grab this one underneath, and because it's a layer, I can't. And the reason for that is this is layer 9 and this is layer 7. It's above it.
The heading's above it?
The logo is above the heading, and I wanted to change the heading. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lower that to 6. Now if I grab this, I can move it. Okay. And I could even close that out if I wanted to, but let's change it. Let's do cool heading, right? I can change the font. I can say if it links to something or not. I can do all kinds of fun stuff. And this one I can move around and get into there if I want. I think I need to move it back. Okay. And I can stretch these out. So if I want to make it bigger. And then there's 2 different pieces on this slider. And they're all going to work a little bit different, but this is kind of I've seen this similar functionality across them. If I click on the inside, I've got the content on the left. If I click on the outside blue, you notice it changed. And if I want to change that here, I'm going to slide it left to right. It's going to go in 500 milliseconds. And let's go ahead and make a delay of, let's do 1,000 milliseconds, so it'll be 1 second. And then play out after, we're going to just say no. I'm going to save that now, because now what we're going to do is we're going to add it to the site. And we add it to the site, and this particular theme, because we're using, this theme is dynamic as a framework, Genesis, the StudioPress Genesis, that Jonathan was talking about as a framework with a theme called dynamic on top of it. And that gives us a lot of control. So it's a really good user interface framework. So I've got my.
Where can you find that out on your dashboard?
On your dashboard.
Yeah. Where can you find that? Where does that tell you what framework?
Yeah, the theme stuff is going to be under themes, under appearance themes.
Okay. But if you're on Genesis or you're on something else, where does that show that? Where does that?
Well, so a framework is part of the theme. Okay. Usually a framework is going to be just I think is the best way to explain. So a framework is kind of something that sits in between WordPress and your actual appearance or theme. Okay. Right. And so you'll usually have two themes at least in here. And you'll notice I've got Dynamic and I've got Genesis. The rest of these are just pre-loaded from WordPress. And so if you go to Appearance Themes, you'll be able to see your theme. Most likely you have one, right? Because the most common way people are using WordPress is they get one theme, right? Like yours is one theme, right? And I could tell because I went to the bottom, I clicked on it, and I went to that theme, and I could see that they were using the same theme that you use, right? So you found one that looked the way you wanted to begin with, which is nice. The framework stuff just gives you a little more control.
I have one that's 7, it's called this, responsive, I want to say I'm making responsive.
Yeah.
If I can change it to different photography or whatever.
Yeah, so most likely you bought a set of themes, right? And that sounds more like marketing to me. I could be wrong, but it sounds like they were marketing, buy this and you get the 7, right? And you pay one price, you get 7 sites.
No.
No?
It's one, it's all like.
Yeah.
7 different themes and
Yes. 2?
I customize it,
Yeah.
choose fonts, colors, background, prints.
Yep. So it's kind of a framework, but it's more of it sounds like more of a builder style theme. And you can get a lot of those on ThemeForest right now. There's a ton of them out there. Just the difference with that is when you update your theme. So a framework is more the core functionality of WordPress. Because WordPress is always evolving. It's coming up with new updates every 3 months or so now. Every time it updates, your theme needs to update as well. In most cases, depending on what kind of code they're utilizing on top of it. So the framework usually takes care of that piece, and then the appearance piece is separate. Right? You can have it all as one, but what tends to happen is that code can get kind of heavy because it's doing everything, right? And now that if WordPress updates, they've got to look through the whole code base to determine what they need to update. So
And that kind of leads me to my question is, do you always want to update to the new
yes,
you always do?
yes.
Is that
Backup
on
update.
the website?
It could backup, but update. And the reason you always want to update is, especially for security updates, because there's what they call 0-day hacks, right? Somebody is identified where WordPress is exposed, and they can hack your site, right? And you want to make sure that you update immediately all the time, but back it up first. Right? Depending on where you're hosted and what you're doing, backing up is extremely important. Yeah, it's just a good habit to get into. Back it up, update it, check it. Right? And then if it broke, go back to your backup, figure out what broke, and then try and do it again. Okay. So we've got I've got that theme. What we were going to do. So I'm back to the widget area, and on the widget area, you'll notice, nice thing about this is it tells me Easy Home Top is this widget area across here. So I've got Easy Home Top open, and I want to add the slider, which is this next end. And I can just open it here, and I can go Easy Home Top widget. And kind of going back to what Jonathan was talking about, what we started with responsive, and this is one of the reasons I want to kind of cross back and forth, is I can actually choose my slider for tablet 1, desktop, and phone. Right, so I can have a different slider for each device, which is really cool because, like we were talking about, you want to make sure that you're presenting good content for mobile versus good content. Let's say you're doing a Facebook special, right, or a Facebook advertising, and you know that most likely a lot of those people are going to come from mobile. especially for you guys. I mean, you know they're probably going to come from mobile. Maybe you're giving away tickets to an event, right? And you know, you want it to look a specific way on desktop and mobile, and you know they'll interact a little bit differently. You can choose it differently here. And then, so now I've got, now see the animation did not work though, so let's see what's going on there. Bless you.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna click here, got animation slide left to right. After position.
Is that where it says play out after, it says off?
And that would be if we wanted it to leave the screen, right? So we've got the animate out, right, and the animate in up here. So with it off, it should just ignore that. Let's see, it should be working. Of course. It's a demonstration, so it's not supposed to. Can't
sacrifice anything to demo?
Yeah, apparently I didn't sacrifice the right things before showing up. Let's do, got the delay. Let's just go ahead, try to change something here.
Can you get it to animate in the building tour?
Yeah, it should be able to hit play,
There.
and it's working there, but I don't know why. Actually, you know, it may want to.
Is it all cached up?
Yeah, it might be. Actually, I don't think I don't have a caching plugin on this yet.
That could be a topic in itself, cache plugins.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful with them.
And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to be building this site, because we'll hit caching, we'll add a backup plugin, we'll go through all the different pieces. So, and you know, one of the things you can do now if you want, here's another one of those demo things. If anybody wants to go to Cafe Reno, if you got a computer open.
I do. In fact, they can see it at home if you're at home right now.
Yes. So, cafereno.com. And then at the top, there should be a register button. And if you want to try and register.
I did.
Yep, so go ahead and register. And let's see what happens.
I registered 10 minutes ago.
Oh, did you?
Right there.
Oh, perfect.
This is what they're seeing on the Google Plus Hangout. You'll see just like this. So I'm all registered. I'm in. Let me log back in. I logged out. I'm going to log back in.
And I've got a little bit of spam going on, so we're gonna put a spam plugin on this too.
Yeah, because you have.
Splog.
That's because you're taking because people can sign on as users, right?
Yep.
Whatever it
Yep.
is.
We're letting them sign in.
I remember what I used for the passwords.
Wow. Guess opening this up to signups is a bad idea.
Yeah, you get a lot of spam.
There's a ton. Oh.
How do you?
Terry, I just deleted you.
You got, do you have a Kismet in there?
And he
Almost.
And he vanishes, right?
That was quick, huh?
Yeah, it was great while it lasted.
Yeah, so nice of you to stop by.
Should I re-register?
No, actually, I canceled. I did. Oh no, cancel.
Cancel mine.
Go ahead and delete it. Okay, let me make sure I don't have any more false positives going on in here.
So mine should be fresh. Just stand there.
Yeah, you know what? I had this turned off to new users.
Because it looks like it faked me up because it sent me an email. Here, right here, password reset. I must be on there. Let me. Sure, I did my stupid password on here. So I'm going to do a password reset. So it must be.
Okay.
This is how bad spam has gotten. Literally, I had this turned off to open registration until about 4:30 today. Right, so it just got hammered. But that's kind of a good sign too, because that means it's indexing well. People are finding it, right? They know that it's out there. So what I'll do is probably turn it right back off.
You don't have a Kismet on there?
No.
God, I can't.
But a Kismet is essentially for comment spam. What we need is they call splog, kind of registration spam, right?
What do you use for registration? Spam?
Yeah, registration spam plugins. I'll look around. I've got a couple that I've used. I don't remember off the top of my head. WPMU or Premium WPMU Dev is a company I use quite a bit because they do a lot of multi-site stuff. Yes, I got. Oh, I think I deleted somebody too many there too.
Am I not on there?
Thought I had it.
Let me try to sign up again and see what happened.
I think I deleted you. You just signed out, didn't you?
I've never been.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
All right.
Somebody else was there though. I thought I had 3.
Should have just
Maybe not.
seen one for Rick.
That's why I deleted you. Just deleted you.
Oh,
Sorry.
You got deleted?
Yeah. You know what I'm gonna do though?
Shall I ask any of them they want to do the group?
The other group. Other little groups.
Yeah.
If you want, I gotta run.
I'll get this on
I've
my,
got to run, so I'm not gonna be able to do the SEO thing. I've got to leave.
Oh, you got to leave?
I'm logged in. That's weird.
I'll keep an eye on this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change it to where I have to approve people, right? So it's not automatic. So go ahead and put it in. I'll make sure and watch it real close, and then I'm going to shut it back down, and then I'll get a registration spam plugin on, so we kind of clean it up. I'll get that. Otherwise, I'm going to get nailed with emails over the next couple of days.
You're not showing me, but I actually logged on. You're not showing me up there. Isn't that weird? I logged on. I'm showing here, and you're not showing me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm still not there. Isn't that weird?
That is weird.
I'm logged on. I'm in the count, and it doesn't show me in there.
Maybe he'll delete you.
Maybe I
Mine didn't show us for deleted us.
What's that?
But,
Yeah, I
okay,
mean
can-
reactivated maybe or something. I did it
Yeah,
twice.
it might be cache and so quickly, but if you're logged in, you're there. So,
'Cause I
any
had-
questions on the
I did
stuff we
one about
kind of
10
covered?
minutes ago,
We've
15.
bounced around for a few subjects, but is that a good format? Is everybody kind of okay with exploring and building stuff? And
Can you answer some questions?
Mhm.
Okay. I was looking at WordCamp notes from 2 years ago, and there were.
no longer relevant.
Okay, well, except that they're still selling all this stuff. DIYthemes.com and headwaythemes.com, are they good or not?
Both are good. Headway, I don't use either. I have actually developer licenses for both, but I haven't used either in a long time. The DIY themes is Thesis, right? And it's evolved quite a bit. Headway just recently, I think they went to 3.0. And it's nice, they're builder tools, right? I still really, really like, out of everything I've used, Genesis with Dynamic on top of it. Because one of the things that I think I always wanted to have this drag and drop theme builder, right? Make it super, super easy. But ultimately, the internet gets in the way. You've got to have some, it does. I mean, it's just, there's got to be some sort of coding involved. And this has got such a nice combination for it. And again, Jonathan's got the ones he prefers, and everybody's going to find something that just fits them well. But one of the reasons I like this is it's got these code builders, right? So I can actually, say take the content, what part of the content, let's do not the page, let's do the paragraph, no, let's find something that is actually showing there. Let's see if we can grab an element. Oh, let's do the header. I think the header, because this is all buddy press, so it's going to work a little bit different. Actually, let's go to the home page, sorry. Bounce around a little bit. So basically, I've got the custom CSS builder on, I enable, and let's say I want to change the easy home sections, right? So you see how it highlights it all in green? Okay, so now I can do something with that. Let's do the bottom 3. So now I've got this. Right, so I push that down into my CSS builder. And let's say I want to do something with the font. Let's change it to Times New Roman. Let's make it an 18. Let's change the color to pretty.
There's a small chuckle coming from under your keyboard.
Yeah, there is. It's out to get me today. You can tell I've done a few presentations over the years. That doesn't faze me. Let's get back to the elements.
When you start customizing multiple elements, does that balloon your CSS?
Yes. Yeah, you want to be real careful how you how you do things. You always want to. I will drive my coders completely bonkers because I'll add things on top of what they've done and just add important to it and override it. That you always good CSS and good coding in general. You want to notate everything you do all the time.
What is CSS?
Cascading style sheets. So basically, that's what it stands for. So basically, in this case, so I grabbed this element, which is easy bottom 2, and if I want to change, let's see if it's going to do it. Let's insert pink. Yeah, it doesn't want to. I'm missing an element probably. Let's do.
This doesn't like pink.
That's quite possible. Let's do. Actually, let's go back and just do the whole area. Let's see what happens.
It's a document that describes fonts, sizes, colors, of everything that's in your page, all the little pieces and parts.
And every page.
I think it's one it can be one document that gets used across your pages.
Yeah, you can.
Or it can be specific to a page. Right?
So I can selection.
What's that?
You can just load up the.
Yeah, it's just text, so it usually loads pretty fast. If it's all in one document, that's the best. It's the call out to it that can slow down a site, right? So if you've got a CSS document that has to load, and you've got 10 of those, and it's got to go out and hit each one, it's got to go out, get it, come back, go out, get it, come back. But if it goes out and gets one, and it's for the whole site, that's the best one. Right, so those lookups are important for page speeds. Yeah, but ultimately, it's just telling the site what the font should look like and what different things it should look like on the site. So, but that's one of the reasons why I like the Genesis and Dynamic more than the DIY themes and Headway, because those are a little complicated to use. And they don't have this overlap of coder versus user interface.
But it looks like what you're using is more complicated than I could deal with in this lifetime. I want something that is so simple I'm happy to do it.
Get off the internet then. It's not that easy. It's, there's certain things. Google makes it look easy with their drag and drop stuff, but it's so isolated. It's just the internet was not built for images and the things we use it for now. It was built for sharing information.
Emails.
Yeah.
Military stuff.
Military stuff. Yeah, it was, right? Sharing, just data and text. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Basically, that's when we invented
Yep.
for doctors to share pictures.
And schools, education, right? Yep.
Education.
Yep.
Well, and HTML came from WordStar with it's an operating system.
CPM?
Yeah, CPM.
Yeah. So just
You didn't create anything really big, you just copied something else.
I think what's going to happen, what we'll see happen, and this is my belief, HTML5 is going to be very beneficial. We're going to see a lot more JavaScript stuff. Everything went from desktop to the internet, and now we're going to see this meld of the two. Right? It's going to come back. Flash was just too heavy on desktop. Now we're going to see JavaScript like Ember, and there's some really cool JavaScript apps out there that pretty much run all client side, so on your own computer. There's server side and there's client side, right? And that's the difference we were talking about before. Reactive sites happen on the server.
Right.
Responsive happens on the client side, so it knows your browser size. Right, so that's where that kind of changes. Any more questions?
So the best way to learn this stuff is get lost. It's like going to a new city, drive around, get lost.
Just spend
Pretty
time,
soon you
take
find your way back.
applications.
Yep.
Don't be in a hurry.
Yeah, don't try that in Boston, you'll be wandering for days.
Boston's really not that big either. It's not like New York.
No.
I know I have a station there. No Boston.
First town I ever got lost.
Yeah, get underneath the city, and come out the other
Avenue
side.
is a carriage of course wide.
It is
The
a
dig.
steady town.
You can get through it now. The dig, boom.
And that's exactly why, like I say, I like to demonstrate this way. You got to get in and get lost. Just do it, and that way you can. Because I've done it. I've got hundreds of thousands of hours, I think, into it. Just practicing and trying and failing and trying again and doing it again and looking at plugins and so you can't let it bother you. It can get frustrating because you want to get to an end goal. But as long as you've defined your end goal, right, you just keep trying different things. And what I do recommend is have a sandbox site, right? And what I mean by that is have a site that you don't care about. Because if you're doing all this on a site you care about and you mess it up, you just wasted all that time, right? You don't want to have that happen. You want to have a site where you can intentionally break it. Yeah. Right? Put plugins on and try the plugin and see if it does what you want. Back up your site, then install it, right?
Always want to back up and then do it.
Always. Yep. Always back up. Yep. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to get you to your objective much faster. Well, that's true. If it's to close the computer and go to the bottle of whiskey, but if you open the computer, yeah, you're gonna need a second bottle real quick. Any other questions or?
Hey, Mike, let me show you something for you. Let's finish up.
I gotta run.
I mean, in 2 seconds. We could have done a much better.
I've got a 6-year-old waiting.
Oh, I got it. But I'm saying we could have captured all that because you could have
Well,
logged
folks,
on.
I think we're.
No, I know how that works.
We're
No, we could have
calling
logged
it
on.
for
We
tonight.
could, because
I thought we might end up going into Google or something. So.
okay. Oh, yeah, you could go to Google, but you could.
And thanks for turning up. Hopefully you got something.
Yeah,
out
definitely.
of it.
Appreciate it.
I think this stuff,
We'll have to take a look at some of these.
especially if you orchestrate a meeting right, so you,
And you get the right lighting. I have a lighting
But I don't
little
want to
light
do
for
it like that. Run the articles out.
Yeah.
We could have, if he would have used this one and logged on, which he could have done, he would have had all the slides, exactly what his computer looked like, and I'll finish this up. And you could have presented it really well. We're doing that with little bits and pieces. I've got a few people speaking, like keynote speakers, and it's live. You can log on at home and watch this right now. And
Where is it?
what's that?
Where is it?
If you have a Google account, a Google Hangout account, and I had it on you, and you were Reno, part of the Reno Collective, or this part, you would have got notified, a little thing would have come up, said we're live right now. So you would have been able to just be notified and watch it live. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut it down. Let me shut this down, I'll show you what it looks like. So I'm stopping broadcasting here.
Just come out.